at Creating Haley, and in today's episode, I am doing a reprise of this star block that we made yesterday. So this is the finished one. This is what it looks like after I hung up the camera. But this is the pattern from this book. I'm not sponsoring this book. I'm not sponsored by this company. But I just saw this pattern for spring. I thought this would be a nice one for Earth Day. So I'm going to do this, today's quilt block, a little bit different than this one. So this finish, well it's unfinished at 10 1/4 inch. So in a finished quilt, it will be 10-inch block. Okay. Now you can see I did this pretty much the exact same as the book. Okay. So my background is light, my flower is dark, and I used fussy cut. So same thing that they did for their block as well. But I'm going to do this a little bit differently. So you can see how these colors, these 4 squares here are the background color. I'm going to switch these around with the fussy cut. Okay, now if you're not sure what I'm talking about, go watch the previous video, and I talked in depth about this little device right here, and you can make this, and I tell you how to do that in the other video. So this is just a window. This is a 2-inch window to fussy cut fabric so that you can see what it might look like in a quilt. Okay, in a quilt block. So that's this, and we're going to do this again in a different way. All right, now let me take you down to this thing right here. So my little setup. Now we're going to do the same 16 or the same measurements, right? 16 2.5-inch squares. In the background color I have green. We're still going to do 13 of the flower color, 2.5 inches. And then our fussy cuts, only 4 of these, 2.5 inch. So everything is 2.5 inch. So if you have a jelly roll, just cut it 2.5 inch square and you're good to go. If you have charm packs, the 5-inch squares, you can cut those in half in quarters, and you have your 2.5 inch squares. If you have layer cakes, the 10-inch blocks, you can cut those up into 2.5 inch squares, and everything's going to be good to go. Okay. Now you want to find some fabric that you can maybe fussy cut. Now I had the wild bees, so I had this bee fabric I had bought for a different project, so I just had this in my stash. And so what I did was I fussy cut some of the patterns from this fabric. You don't have to do the same thing. I bought this at Joann last year or so. I don't know when, but it's been a while. So whatever you have in your stash is good. You can go out and buy, something specific if you want to, but you only need 4. So yeah, you really only need 4. So I just chose these 4 little squares. So these are the fussy cuts that I chose. And do you have to fussy cut? No, you don't. You just want to make it a little bit different. So these happen to be in the same colorway. They're yellow for the flower, but you can make them whatever color that you want. Okay, so we just have 3 colors here, basically. So in the book, these are pink. In the book, these are brown. In the book, these are white. So whatever you want to do, it's up to you. Now, I'm going to make it a little bit differently. So let me show you how I'm going to do this. Okay, so I'm going to start with the middle. The middle is going to be our yellow, or my yellow for the flower. Now, I already made the HSTs, half square triangles. I made these, and I will put in the video on how I chain pieced and made those right now. Okay, now we're going to put these in our block. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the center and work out. So I'm going to make my 5, my figure 5 right here. And now in the book, it would have your background right here, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put the fussy cuts right here. Okay? So I'm going to put my honeybee here and my honeybee here, and I'm going to do it a little bit differently, and let's see how this turns out. So now we're starting to build our flower, okay? So then we want to take, let's see. So if I back this up a little bit, and here is our finished. So up in here is where we're going to have our flower petals, okay? So then we want to match this with this. So we're going to put the hourglass together. So one easy way to remember that is to put the hourglass together. So let me show you what the hourglass looks like right here. This is the hourglass. You put the 2 points together, and this makes an hourglass right there. Okay? So that's what we're going to do on each corner. So put the hourglasses together. And then you will always be correct. Okay? Put the hourglasses together, and in each corner you're now correct because those points match and the long parts are facing away. The points match and the long parts are facing away. Okay, now take your background color and fill those in. All the squares that remain, all the empty spots that remain, you just want to fill those in with your background squares, your background 2.5-inch squares. And then that makes up your entire block right there. Okay? So that's a little bit different from this one. So you can see how that creates a completely different pattern. It's the same pattern, but here's the background color on the inside, and here's the fussy cut on the outside. Now I just switched that around. I put the fussy cut on the inside and the background on the outside. So now it looks more like an actual flower. Okay, let's see if we can do an overhead shot here, an overhead picture. Oh, there's a lot of shadow with that. Can you see how that works? Maybe I would be better off switching this to here and this to here, just the way it kind of looks. This is cut off a little bit. Maybe this makes more sense if that's like that. I don't know, maybe. All right, let's try it. What do you think? Now, if you explode this out, you can make 4 patches, okay? So you put these 4 together. You put these 4 together, these 4 together, and these 4 together. Now, once you do that, that makes your flower petals. You have 4 flower petals on each corner, okay? So you would take 2 at a time. Just sew 1/4 inch. So you want to flip that, sew your 1/4 inch, flip it open. That's now a unit. And do that all the way up. Okay? And then keep doing that. Now, in the middle, so you can explode this and do the same thing. Make your 2, make your 2, make your 2, 2, and 2, okay? And then you would take those 2 and sew that and sew that. 1/4 inch seam allowance, putting the right sides together. And now that is your 4 patch right there, and you have 4 flower petals. Now you sew these together, you sew these together, you sew these 2 together, you sew these 2 together. Okay? Now those 2 are sewn together, and then you have 1 in the center. Now you put this together, and then this together. And this together, and this together, and this together and this together. And now these are units, and you sew that unit together, and then you sew that unit together. All right? And then that makes a different pattern from this. And you can see how that goes, right? And you can kind of see how I made these patches, these 4 patches. I did the same thing. And you can see here along this line is a sewn line, and along this line is the sewn, like an attached line. So I put these units together, I put these units together, and I put this line together. And then you can actually see right there is where I sewed those units to make a whole big square. All right, so let's get into it. You have fun with that. Let me see how it goes. I'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now. And now that we have our block placed, our block pieces placed in the order that we want to sew them, I'm going to take parts to the machine and sew those pieces together. And then we're going to create one cohesive block. We'll see how it turns out in the end. So I'll just take it to the machine. I'm not going to do a whole lot of talking here. And let's just sew this. 2 blocks at a time to start. Right sides together, 1/4 inch seam allowance for every piece. I need to take a break now. What's the matter, baby girl? right, you guys, and there you go. That's the different way that I just kind of made up. Instead of putting the background here and the highlight here, I switched it around. So, for comparison, see what you think. This is the way the instructions had it in the book, and this is the way I did it, and then this is another way that I thought might be different, kind of cool. I don't know. You tell me. It looks way different though, doesn't it? Looks more compact on this side and much more spaced out on this side. And of course you don't have to use, you can use different colors, coordinating colors, the same color if you want. If you just wanted to use all one color, it's just two colors, a color for your flower, tulips, and your background. Or batiks, whatever works, guys. So it's creativity at its best. So, whatever you think there. Which one do you like? The one that was shown in the book or the creative one? All right, you guys, let me know in the comments which one you want to try, or if you want to try both, and which one you like better. All right, y'all, have a great day. Happy Earth Day. I'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now.